Hey, hello. How's it going? Hope you're doing great at the other side of the screen. Here we are in this, your favorite show, my favorite show for sure, Guitar Chat 64. We've been doing this 64 times already. And as you might know, Guitar Chat is brought to you by Vegatrem, the best tremolo systems in the world for sure. So if you're already part of this family, well, congratulations. But if you're not, I encourage you to hit that subscription button right now. Hit that button, give us a like, leave a comment as well. And only by doing that, you will enter our t-shirt giveaway. It's that easy. That's the only thing you need to do. So you can win one of these amazing t-shirts by being subscribed to our YouTube channel, or in case you like Facebook more than YouTube, you can also like us on Facebook and leave a comment in any of our shows. Just by doing that, you're gonna be eligible to get one of these ones. So last show we already had a winner for one of our t-shirts, and his name is Abbas Om. Congratulations, Abbas. We're gonna get in touch with you and we're gonna send you this t-shirt to your place. Right on. Also, we have a discount code that we put here on the screen at the bottom part of the screen at any moment of our show. And with that discount code, you can go to our website and make your purchase. When it's time to check out, you can type that code and you're gonna get a 15% off. How cool is that? I think it's awesome. And it's gonna be available for the next 48 hours after the broadcast of this show, okay? So there's that too. And of course, we keep giving away stuff. We keep giving away things completely free. But this next one, it's gonna take you a little bit of work. Anyway, it's gonna be very, very fun. You know what the Vegatrem challenge is? Well, check this out. If you play guitar and wanna be part of the Vegatrem family, listen to this. We are introducing the Vegatrem challenge. Each month, we will propose a piece of music for you to play. It could be a lick, a phrase, a riff, etc. You'll have to learn it and make it your own. You can use it in any way you want. You can change the tempo, you can change the fingering, change the key, change the harmony. We want you to be yourself. Each month we will announce a new Vegatrem challenge. Once you learn it, you can start making your video. Then follow these steps. Number 1, follow us on Instagram. Number 2, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Number 3, tag us on your video. Number 4, use the hashtag Vegatrem Challenge. Among all the participants, we will choose the best one, and the winner will have a brand new VT1 for their guitar. The name of the winner will be revealed on the first edition of each month on our podcast, Guitar Chat. Are you ready? Well, don't miss this and grab your guitar. Okay, yeah, so that's the Vegatrem Challenge. And now we're gonna see all the participants that we've had so far in this month of May. Mr. Jose de Castro Hopi was the invited artist for this month. He was the one who played the Vegatrem Challenge, and our participants just had to use that phrase, that lick, that melody in their videos, in their performance. You still have a few more days till the end of this month, and in June we're gonna reveal the name of the winner, and we're also gonna propose a new Vegatrem challenge with a new guest, with a new artist. So yeah, there's that. without further ado, let's talk about today's interview. We have a very, very talented, very gifted guitar player, very amazing musician, and also a very, very nice guy. Great conversation. We had a lot of fun, and he shared his wisdom with us. So please give it up for Mr. Scott Bernard. Scott Bernard, born into a musical family in New Iberia, Louisiana, developed a diverse taste in music from an early age. Influenced by bands like the Beatles, Kansas, and Queen, he began playing guitar at age 9. Moving to Nashville in 1999, he worked with several Christian and country artists, expanding his repertoire. Scott's extensive list of collaborations includes artists such as Kenny Loggins, McDonald and Natalie Grant, while his musical influences range from Phil Keaggy to Brian May. Don't miss this interesting chat with Mr. Scott Bernard. Well, here we are in another edition of Guitar Chat, this time with Mr. Scott Bernard. He is a very, very, very good guitar player, session musician. He's been playing for Kenny Loggins for a long time already. How you doing, Scott, today?
I'm doing wonderful. Thank you for having me. Absolutely.
Man, it's a pleasure to have you here. It's a pleasure so we can, get to know you a little bit better. And the internet allows us to do this. So thank you very much for doing this, man.
Absolutely.
My
pleasure.
Yeah, man. So I've been reading a little bit about you. You were born in Louisiana, right? In a town called New Iberia. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, so
we have some Spanish. New Iberia it was started by a Spanish. Oh my gosh, I forgot his name. I didn't even think about this until just now. Yeah. So we have something. It's kind of a mix of French and Spanish. Yeah. Well, there you go.
Okay, got it. Well, I mean, I was thinking about that because Iberia, it's the Iberian Peninsula. We in Portugal, we share the Iberian Peninsula, so I figured it was because of that.
Yeah,
so
it is. Yeah,
that is cool.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, man. So how was your childhood? It was a very musical childhood, or not?
Very. Yeah, my family was super musical, and I like to say I might have been kicked out if I wouldn't have been a musician.
Nice.
But we used to, when I was a kid, everybody played. There was like this family band, and I played drums when I was 5, and I started playing guitar at 9, and my older brother Kent is a guitar player, and he kind of just showed me the ropes and taught me a couple of things. And the first thing he taught me was I joined a band at 9 with my other brother Reed, and who's 4 years older than I am, and Kent's like 9 years older than me. But so we started this band, and the first thing we learned was a Doobie Brothers tune called "Jesus Is Just All Right." And so my brother Kent was teaching me the guitar part, and he taught me chords, and then he taught me this song, and then he said, in the middle of it, he said, "Okay, you're gonna have a solo." And so he kind of taught me like what a solo is, and how to do it. And I kind of took all that and ran with it, and learned everything as much as I could as a kid. If I bought a new record, man, I put the needle on it and I tried to learn it all, you know. And
Nice.
so I was really into the 70s rock of the day. I'm a big Kansas fan. All the stuff, Foreigner, Boston, you know, and anything from that era, I was really a big fan of. Shoot, you know, even Kenny Loggins, man, I was a big fan of Kenny, you know, when I was a kid. How could you not
Awesome.
be? Yeah. And yeah, so that's kind
Okay.
of where it started.
So, do you? Because of course, I mean, for people from younger generations, they must think that nowadays kids have all these advantages, all this information on YouTube. But
Whew.
did you used to play over the vinyls, over the
Yeah,
records
over
on your
vinyl
guitar?
records. It's kind of all I had, man, you know. I had my brother's Les Paul. He had a really cool deluxe Les Paul that he used to let me play, and then I finally got my where is it? I got a Murata, a Gibson Murata. It was like their first Botan. It was kind of one of their inexpensive, you know, but
Okay.
all I knew about a Marauder was that Paul Stanley of Kiss used to break them on Rock and Roll All Night. You know, that was his breaking guitar. But I thought that was cool enough, so I got it, and that was my first guitar. And so yeah, we had to put the needle on the record, and you know, we didn't have any slow downers or any. There was no tabs or anything like that back then. You know what I mean? There was nothing. You just
Yeah.
had to use the ear, you know, and
Uh-huh.
just put it on. You know, like I said, Kansas Records. I'm a big fan of a guy named Phil Keaggy. I don't know if you know who Phil Keaggy is.
Phil Keaggy. I mean, it rings the bell a little bit, but I don't.
He,
I don't think I'm
he's a
familiar with.
he's a pioneer in the Christian music market. You know,
Okay.
the gospel music, and he is one incredible guitar player. So he's probably my biggest. Him and Jeff Beck. You know, so just learning those licks over and over, man, it was great.
Uh huh.
But you
Yeah.
had to do it, you know.
Of course. I mean, that was the only way you could do that nowadays.
There's
I
no
mean,
shortcuts, man.
yeah. There were no shortcuts. That's for sure.
Yeah,
And you had to really develop your ear, right? Because I mean, since there
yeah,
were no videos or anything, you couldn't see the fretboard or the fingering
yeah.
or
So
anything.
you had to hear the fast licks going by and pick the notes out, you know, or you had to hear the real complex chords, you know.
Uh
You had
huh.
to hear the top note and the bottom note and kind of fill them in, you
Yeah.
know. You had to do it on your own if you didn't have it written out there. You didn't have. It was really not a whole lot in that world. Now you can do anything, you know.
Of course. Yeah. Well, but tell me a little bit how the transition from just being a kid listening to records, trying to figure out all those guitar parts, to becoming a professional musician, like playing in these big arenas
Yeah.
in front of so many people. Tell me a little bit about all that journey.
Yeah, man. You know, for like I said, for the most part, starting out at 9, it was a just learning everything you can learn,
Okay.
and I started playing in like club bands when I was like 16,
Uh
and
huh.
with my older brothers. My brothers are huge influence. You know, my brother Reed and Kent Bernard. They helped shape my musical ear, you know what I mean? Because I
Got it.
really learned from their records at first.
Uh
You know
huh.
what I mean? They had all the records, you know, and they had all, luckily for me, they had all the good ones. And you know, and so I joined a band with them, and we did like your nightclub
hmm
uh top 40 and kind of dance stuff, you know, back in the day, in the 80s, mid 80s, whatever that would have been. And
Yeah.
uh so that's still continuing to develop your ear, you know. And so I did that for a while. Then I started getting into Christian music, contemporary CCM is what it's called, and
Yes.
music
hmm
of my faith, right? And
Okay.
I started doing that for a few years in the late 80s, and I moved to Nashville. Well, yeah, that's then I just had years of doing that at home, basically.
Got it.
I'm a fast forward, but I got to a place where either I moved to Nashville and pursue this, or I just don't. And I was working on a music store, and everyone was like, "Man, you're gonna be discovered," but no, uh, nobody really said you need to really go move to get. And so in my mind as a kid, I was thought, well, somebody will magically walk into New Iberia and
Yeah.
discover me or whatever. And um, later in life, I realized, well, I need to go where the action is. And at the time, in the late 90s, CCM, contemporary Christian music, was kind of the hub was Nashville. And
Got it.
so I moved to do that career, moved there in 99. And as it happens, you become part of the community, and you start meeting people who are like, so I started playing with some Christian artists, and then, started meeting people, and they were like, "Hey, I play with this country artist. Would you like to do a couple of those shows?" So I started playing with some country artists, and then, that kind of, you meet other musicians. Then you start meeting everybody. Then you realize that Nashville's not just a country town; it's like a everything music town.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And so I played with a couple of pop artists, and some jazz fusion stuff. I played with a phenomenal bass player named Adam Nitti, and
Okay.
I've done a lot with him, and he's become a really good friend. And that's some really a lot of notes kind of music, a lot
Yes.
of stuff going on, and and that's part of my life too. I was really into Chick Corea, and well, Tom Breckline, right? So, and
Of course. Yeah. He's.
it was so great to meet Tom when I started playing with Kenny, because
Uh-huh.
Tom, I was a big fan of Chick Corea, and all the anything like that, the fusion stuff, the fusion world. Got into that, and then in 2004, I was
Okay.
playing with a country artist, and she was opening for Keith Urban
Got it.
on one of his first really big tours, and like arena tours. And I got to know Keith's guitar player, Chris Rodriguez,
Okay.
incredible vocalist, singer. And he was at the time playing with Kenny,
Mm-hmm.
and he was so busy with both, he asked me if I would be interested in subbing,
Got it.
you know. Actually, his wife asked my wife while she was cutting his hair if he had. It's a
Nice.
long story, but she said, "Would you think Scott would mind subbing for Chris on Kenny's stuff, because he's getting so busy?"
Yeah.
And so I would have never. Kenny wasn't on my radar because he was in L.A. I was in Nashville,
Got it.
and it might as well have been like, "Hey, Paul McCartney, would you want to play with Paul McCartney?" It was that kind of big to me. And so
Yeah.
I never even, he wasn't even on my radar. And so, of course, I said yes, never really thinking it would even happen.
Yeah.
And then I'm making this long story a little bit shorter by saying a couple of years later, I get a call from Kenny, and they needed me to sub on a couple of dates.
Okay.
And then that just turned into this gig 15 years later, mind you. So
Wow.
it's been a good run.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, you guys sound phenomenal.
Thank you.
You just mentioned Tom Breckland, which is a common friend of ours.
Yeah.
Shout out to him, by the way, because we had him here at Guitar Chat at the show. He was
Yeah.
gracious enough to be the only drummer in this show.
Yeah.
so, so
He
that's.
is a phenomenal player, great guy, and
Oh yeah.
I'm really blessed to call him a really good friend. God, what a good hang he was on the road. I miss him, man. He was
Oh
great.
yeah, he's just amazing. I mean I really miss him, because the time I spent playing with him and him as a person, he couldn't be nicer, and he
Oh, great.
really I really had such a good time with him. But anyway, I wanted to tell you because I saw when I was preparing this interview, I saw a live performance of you guys playing with Kenny Loggins,
Yeah.
and I was so happy to see you guys together. I had seen that before, but of course I was I could recognize Tom, but I didn't know
Right.
you by
Right.
then.
Yeah. Yeah,
So then
totally.
I saw it again, and I was like, look at that. That's Scott with Tom, which is very, very cool. But anyway, I
Yeah,
wanted to tell you that gig is amazing for a guitar player. I guess it must be very, very fun. I don't know. I mean, you've been
it's
doing it for 15 years, right? But
yeah,
it must still be fun, right?
it's still fun. I
Yeah.
think the cool thing about the Kenny
Uh-huh.
gig on the guitar is that there's so many styles. You have to wear a lot of hats, right,
That's
as
right.
the guitar player, because you have his 70s Loggins and Messina kind of country rock thing.
Uh-huh.
Then you have the early 80s kind of yacht rock West Coast pop thing.
Yeah.
Then you have the mid 80s rock thing and the early 90s kind of R&B thing. And it's just like there's so many facets to his style that it seems like every song you're changing a guitar, you different tunings or you're going for different tones. And I remember when I first joined, Chris Rodriguez told me, man, this is one of the hardest chairs in pop music, man. The guitar chair.
Oh yeah.
And I tell you, man, in this 15 years, it's been a really good stretch for me. Like it stretched me so much in the beginning. There's even one tune where you play an open slide tuning, and you're playing like this slide thing on "I'm Alright," and I mean, you're just doing it all. You know what I mean?
Man,
Yeah,
yeah, I
and it's
saw.
fun. It's very. I'm sorry. It's very fulfilling as a musician.
Got it.
It
Got it.
really is.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I saw you playing the on that SG playing slide
Yeah,
guitar,
yeah.
and let me tell you, you're a phenomenal slide player, man.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
It sounds very, very cool, and I
Thank you.
mean it's very exciting because when I was checking you guys out, and I was like thinking to myself, man, this is you need to have a real high musicianship to be in this band, because not
Yeah,
only as a guitar player you need to be very good, but the thing that I like the most about that band is like almost everybody sings, right? Am
yeah,
I so
yeah. Everybody sings. Yeah.
yeah,
Uh,
and you guys
it's
sing very
it's
well as well, which is awesome.
man, you have to. There's so many vocal parts, and Kenny's really generous with the spotlight. He we all have kind of step out vocal parts here and there. And uh, obviously he's been really generous with guitar solos.
Yeah.
I remember when I first joined him, respectfully, I'd kind of stay away from the front line of the stage. When I play a solo, I was, he's the star or whatever. And he was
Yeah.
like, no, 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 go to the front of the stage, go all the way there. And he basically would say, don't, don't stop until you run out of ideas, and wait for your applause. And you know what I mean? He was just very generous with that.
Awesome. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think because he likes the idea of a band. You know
That's
what I
right.
mean? Like
Yeah.
on stage, we're all his mic and our mics are all together. It's not
Uh-huh.
like his is up front and we're sitting on the risers in the back.
Yeah.
He's like, where my mic is the same distance from the front of the stage as his. You know what I mean? So he
Yes.
likes a band thing. He's very into the music. He's
Uh-huh.
not like just the singer that shows up after the band's been rehearsed,
Got
with a hot toddy and a scarf around his neck, sipping. He's
Yes.
in it, and he'll be like, hey man, I want that drum. I mean, he's very in it. Like he'll say, I want the drums need to be kind of on the backside on the verses, and then the chorus, I want you to push them, kind of above, or and just so much. He's very in it, man. He's listening all the time. He's always, in the beginning, I used to joke because I used to kind of noodle a lot and play over a song. Like if we were kind of the keyboard player was playing one of his tunes, I was kind of just playing over it, and he would say, hey man, what did you just play? Let's put that in the song. I'm like, wait, I don't remember what I just played, because he loves to change things up.
Yeah.
It's a very fun musical experience. to
Man,
me.
that's awesome.
It
Um,
really is.
tell me something. So, for instance, when you guys are playing live, when it's time for you to play a solo, do you always improvise those solos, or is there something that has to be written
Right.
because it belongs to the song?
Yeah. A lot of them are there's a couple of spots where I improvise.
Okay,
A lot of them though have musical cue points for the band,
got it.
like throughout the solo.
Yeah.
So, and Kenny's very, um, like for instance, I'm all right. That is a pretty, that's the same every night because there's in the solo section, there's four sections of it.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So I
Yes.
play this to that cues this section, and then another cues this section. So that's like a little musical piece in the song itself. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of songs, you have to um, you kind of have to play the showcase solo
Got it.
because it's kind of part of the thing. I kind of take liberties on Danger Zone.
Uh huh.
I start the solo like on the record, and I end it like the record, but the middle is mine.
Got it.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And that kind of happens through the night.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there's a song called Angry Eyes
Okay.
that is a Loggins and Messina tune that we do.
Uh huh.
And that solo, I never play it the same. It's one of the solos where I can just do whatever I want. And there's at the end I do this cue line for them to know that I'm done. But
Got it.
Kenny's really like, hey man, just hang out and play and jam as long as you want or whatever. And to a point, I guess, but you know, and so that song I'd like to play around entrances differently,
Yes.
and then kind of in the middle of it kind of do something different. It's really my one song that I can do whatever I want on it and just totally explore it. And then as long as I button up the end with this one
Uh huh.
cue line that I do, and a lot of the solos kind of are, it's weird, if it's just, there's this talk back and forth with the band, that they hear the cue line and then they know we're going into whatever section, you
That's
know
right.
what I mean?
Yes.
So sometimes you can feel a little bit locked into, well, I got to play this thing because I can't get away too far or whatever.
Uh
You know
huh.
what I mean? But
Yes.
songs like Angry Eyes lets me just kind of just do whatever I want all night, the whole solo. So yeah, I don't know. I'm speaking a lot, but
No, no, no. It's wonderful. It's wonderful. It's a. I mean, I'm really interested in knowing how that works because I mean, I figured it was gonna be something like that because listening to Kenny's music and listening to, I mean, the whole band seems like he's smart enough to let you guys shine and have
yeah,
fun and
he
do a.
does, man.
Yeah,
He
yeah, and
he, he really he lets you make uh he lets you make the guitar spot your own.
uh-huh.
You know what I mean? He
Yes.
lets you shine through it, which I'm really thankful about,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, man. That's beautiful. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Tell me, I also wanna ask you about gear, about guitars, amps, and things like that. If you don't mind, let's start by the amps because I've seen, uh, correct me if I'm wrong, but I've seen you use maybe a couple of deluxe reverbs on
Yeah.
stage. Is
Yeah.
that still your current rig?
Yes. Yeah. That's been, I first started off with two Vox amps,
Okay.
back when I started. And, Voxes, to get them where they really kind of feel really good, they have to be massively loud. And so,
Yeah.
and at some point I just kind of said, you know what? And you never know, like, because a lot of the dates we do are fly dates.
Okay.
So we get blackline gear, so
Yes.
um, you never know what you're going to get with a Vox, man. It could be a beautiful, awesome instrument. And then the next day you get the same one and it's flat and dead and you can't pull any notes out of it.
Yeah.
And I also, um, one of my favorite amps in the whole wide world, and probably is this right here. See that? That's a Bassman,
Okay.
a 65 Bassman. That's my dad bought that new to play bass through.
Wow.
And it just so happened, you know, in the late 70s, you know, my older brother realized that if you crank it, it sounds really great on the guitar, you know.
Of course.
And so when my dad passed away,
Mhm.
I got the head, my brother got the cab.
Yes.
And a few years ago, my brother said, you know, I'm not using that cab anymore, and if you want to take it. But you know, in the 80s, he put carpet on it and put some selections, and so I had a friend of mine kind of revive it back to the original.
Got
And
it.
so that's like, for me, that is like the pinnacle of amp tone that I love.
Uh-huh.
So the deluxe from that year, 65 Deluxe,
Okay.
is a perfect amp to me. I mean, it takes pedals well, it sounds awesome. And so I realized, well, you know, the 65 reissue is a really decent amp.
Oh yeah.
And if I get two of those, they're always the same. I mean, it's
Uh-huh.
super rare. Every now and then, you know, I'll get one that's like, maybe the tubes aren't.
Yes, they're not in perfect shape or something
Yeah,
like that.
sometimes the backline companies don't
Yeah.
keep their gear up, you know, but I'm going to go with like 90% of the time, the amps are great. And, you know, you put them all you put the tone and bass at 5, and, you know,
Uh-huh.
um, I put the volume around 4, you know,
Okay.
maybe 3.5, 4, and it's perfect. You know, there's just enough hair on the clean sound, and it takes the pedals that I use well.
Do
And
you
so
use the
that's what
vibrato channel on them?
I don't, no, I
Oh, you
don't at
use
all.
the normal one?
In fact, it's not here. I have it downstairs. I Man, a few years ago. I was looking for. I was just gonna buy a deluxe reverb reissue, like the
Okay.
ones I use on the road, because I wanted an amp that I could just throw in the car.
Yeah.
And then I came across this amp at a store that was a used amp, and it looked just like a deluxe. It was called a Superlux, and it's by a guy named Bill Keck.
Okay.
It was Keck amps, and he doesn't build anymore. But this amp is essentially a hand wired 65 Deluxe, and there's no tremolo, or no. There's a tremolo circuit, but you can actually click it off, so it actually changes
Got it.
the sound quite a bit.
Uh-huh.
You'd be surprised it not going through all that circuitry. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's kind of like my main amp in town. It's a Keck Superlux, which is essentially a 65, hand wired 65. But on the road, I do use the Fender 65 Deluxe reissues. And
Nice.
they're great
Uh,
amps.
oh yeah, they're amazing amps. I mean, I used to have a deluxe, actually the 65 reissue as well, and
Hmm.
I used to love it. I want to buy another one, but
Yeah, I mean, yeah, right. It's
whenever
you
I
know,
have the opportunity, I will for sure. Yeah,
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 it's just a great, man. The tone, top to bottom's real balanced. You know,
yeah.
real, yeah, perfect. Yeah, for
That's
me
one.
anyway.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Well, let's talk guitars as well because I've seen you using this. Let me see if I'm seeing it right. If I'm saying it right, melanchon guitars. Is that the
Nobody
name?
gets it. Nobody gets it right. It's Melanson.
Melanson. Okay, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
it's a no. Nobody gets it right. It's a company from South Louisiana, so it's a French
Okay,
Canadian name, right?
okay, okay.
A Cajun. You've heard Cajun. It's a Cajun name,
Yes.
and I, I I've been using Melanson for years, and it's a great guitar.
Awesome.
Unfortunately, he passed away a couple of years ago,
Oh,
and
okay.
he the company no longer exists. But
Hmm.
this guitar right here is that Melanson, and that's the first guitar that I put the Vegatrem in, and
Oh, wonderful.
man, it's amazing. So that's kind of been, my
Yeah.
go-to guitars for years. I this one a couple of years ago. It's a G&L, and so I
Okay.
use that a lot. And this one I just got about a week ago, and it's a Bluesman Vintage. It's one of those companies that kind of recreate a vintage guitar, you know. So that's essentially like a 62 Strat, 64 Strat, you know.
Got it.
Except he overround the pickups for me, so they're just a little bit hotter. And,
okay.
I mean, I just got it, so I'm still kind of in the honeymoon stages with it. But
Yes.
but the pickups are unbelievable. I love them. So
nice.
so that's kind of basically, you know, when you see me play slide on an SG, it's usually a backline guitar, because I usually bring one guitar with me when we fly, right? And so all the other guitars are backline. That's like 7 other. I use 7 guitars, and so most of those are backlined because they're all different tunings and sounds, and yeah. So although this weekend I played in Nashville, right, like 8 miles from my house, you know, and so it was really his hometown gig. So I brought all my guitars, man, and I was just in heaven.
Nice, you know? Of course, because it's always better to use your own guitar.
Absolutely,
right?
And you know, my guitar tech had a lot less work that weekend because, you know, he has to like go and change the strings, make sure the action's right and everything, and so it was a good time for him to not have to worry about all that. You know?
Of course.
Yeah.
So I mean, I guess by watching your wall, I guess you're more of a Strat guy overall, or not really.
I'm very in. Yeah. I love the Strat body, the feel of it.
Got it.
Man, you know, I'm enamored with Leo Fender and his. I mean, not many things that were created in like 50.
That's right.
You know, are still like kind of that's it. You know.
Yeah.
And so you know, if I had my druthers, man, I would absolutely want like a 64 Strat, but they are $1 million now, you know?
Yeah.
So really Strat styles are where I feel most at home, for sure.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Absolutely. You know?
Man, that's it's wonderful. It's great that for sure you sound amazing, you know, and I know it's not the gear, it's the hands, of course.
Well, I appreciate it.
And it's great to have you in the Vegatrem family. We're honored to have you, because every time, you know, we have a musician like yourself, you know, trying out our tremolos, for us it's a big pride, you know. It's we feel very proud.
The honor is all mine. Let me tell you, man, like it seems like it was an ongoing thing for years. Like, I got to find the perfect tremolo. Yeah. Always in the back of my mind. Like, I'd see a new design. Man, maybe that's the thing that will be the magic bullet. Yeah. You know, because it just, there was a, you know, like you know, a company would come out with a tremolo, and I'm thinking, well, man, that's it. Then it was always something not right about it. You know, okay, never mind. No, I don't like that, or whatever. Yes. It seems to me, and I'm not blowing smoke. This is true, man. This is the first one of those products that deliver on everything it promised. It really does. It feels awesome. It sounds awesome. There's no, it's a sustain. It's great. There's no loss. It feels right. It's everything that it promises. And it took me like 20 minutes to you know, and you don't have to route anything. Are you kidding? So anyone, it seems to me like anybody that would have a Strat, like a vintage Strat that they don't want to cut.
Yeah, that's right.
It's beyond me why they would want to use the old tremolo. Like, just throw this in. You're not doing anything to the cost of the guitar. You can, you want to sell it as vintage, pull it out, boom, put it back in. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But just to make it a playable guitar that, you know, and you don't have to float the bridge up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you can get your action as low as you want it. And I don't know, man. It seems like it's a no-brainer to me. I'm serious. I just don't. It's the, you know, because in the 80s I had on my main guitar I had a Kaler. You remember the Kalers?
Yes, of course. Yeah.
And I loved the way it felt. It was so smooth, but there was, for some reason, it was a lot. If the sustain of what, I don't know what the deal with that was, but I miss the feel, the real smooth feel.
That's right.
Um, and this thing feels as smooth as anything. And it's
Nice.
not, you don't have to route it out like for the Floyds, you know.
Yeah.
Nothing. It's just, it's like why didn't somebody think, turn it up a little bit and you have all the play, and it's
That's
great,
right.
you
Man,
know.
that's it's wonderful. We're honored and we're very, very happy that you like it,
Yeah,
and
I
that
do.
and you're using them, which is the most important thing for us.
Yeah.
Well, Scott, any chance we're gonna see you in Europe, in Spain, by any chance?
Man, I would love that. I don't know. We'll see. You know, I don't think this year Kenny tour will do that, but you never know. You know, Kenny's, could be like his management could call and say, "Hey, man, we're playing Barcelona like in 3 weeks. Are you available?"
Ah,
you know, you never know. That's how it is. You know, that's how it is with Kenny. You know, we'll have our schedule, and then
uh-huh.
all of a sudden there's something that pops up. You know.
Yes.
A few years ago, we played in. Actually, it's when we played in Barcelona. We also played in Paris, and it
Gotcha.
was the first time Kenny played a public show in France since I don't know. I don't remember. Maybe early '80s or whatever.
Okay.
And it was like my first tour with him. And I'm telling you, I will never get any closer to being in the Beatles. The crowd was crazy. There were so many rabid Kenny fans that haven't
Awesome.
seen him, So for
Yes.
him to come to France was like, so it was a big deal for them. And I mean, it was a big deal for me. It was my first time in Europe, actually. And,
Uh-huh.
so man, I loved it. I hope we do it again, for sure.
Man, if you ever come to Spain, we're gonna take you places, and we're gonna invite you to our headquarters, which
I would
is in
love it.
which is in a beautiful, beautiful island in the middle of the Mediterranean in Mallorca.
Oh my gosh.
So it would be nice. It would be nice to
Yeah,
to have
I
you
would love
there.
it, man.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
would
yeah.
love it.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much, Scott, for being here. Thank you very much for doing this with us.
Yeah,
And we're looking forward to seeing you. I don't know if in America or in Europe, but we're looking forward to meet you in
man.
person. It would be awesome.
Me too. I would love it. Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, for the rest of you guys, I'm gonna leave all the information, Scott's information, in the description of this video, because actually we haven't talked about your originals, but I've been listening on Spotify, and you're a fine songwriter, amazing
Thank
singer
you,
as well,
man.
and the
I
guitar playing,
appreciate
of
that.
course, it's stellar. It's amazing, but
Thank
I'm
you.
I'm missing more stuff, because I couldn't I could find just only 5 songs, but
Yeah, I only have a few songs. Yeah,
okay,
but
okay.
trust me, I have plenty of songs that I'm working on, and so I'll be releasing something pretty soon.
Well, I'll be waiting for them, because that's great stuff, man.
Thank you, man.
Yes, yes, yes. Awesome.
Maybe I'll get Tom to play on one or two of them as well.
Oh, that would be amazing. Of course, that would be wonderful, wonderful. Well, anyway, so this has been Guitar Chat today with Mr. Scott Bernard. Thank you very much for being here,
Yeah, man.
and we're gonna leave it here. So till the next time, this has been Guitar Chat. Till next time, be safe, be happy, play a lot your guitar. See you next one.